Some of you all have no idea of what cloning is about. You can't comprehend or mustard what I'm getting ready to tell you. Okay? So enjoy the ride. So some of y'all think cloning only exists in the entertainment world. That's not true. It has nothing to do with the industry. Why is cloning is needed? They started the cloning process in 1945. One of the reasons they killed JFK because JFK decided we didn't need to clone humans. And they said, come on, Jay, stop BSing. And they saw that he was serious. It was two reasons why they killed JFK. He was against Vietnam. He felt like it was a useless war. And he found out that what they were cloning people, he wanted to expose the Illuminati. And they said, damn it, it's time for him to go. And of course, he was a white guy. You don't think the reptile is real? The reptile is very real. You don't think lizards from the demigods exist? The only way that these demigods can live, they have to get into a human format because their life as reptiles is only so long. They have to be able to be in a human format to live for a long time. And once they get in a human format, they clone that human over and over again. Did y'all know that Gaddafi is not dead? He was cloned. I'm going to lay it on you because a lot of y'all think you want to hear some good stuff, but sometimes y'all just want entertainment. I'm not entertainment. I'm going to give it to you from the hip. Farrakhan is chipped. He got the same chipping process as Gaddafi. And I wouldn't be surprised if they clone Farrakhan and kill the real Farrakhan. And y'all probably saying, well, yeah, that don't make sense. Why would they want to kill Farrakhan and keep, because they want to work his mind? The man is very intelligent. See, a lot of times they want to keep you alive just to pimp your brain. And when they put you under hypnosis and MLK and they can chip you, you totally submissive to them. Do you know when they put a chip in your body that they can go all the way back 30, 40 years and you can tell them things that you didn't want to tell them? This is how powerful their technology is. And by the way, white men are not that damn smart. Neither are these Jewish men. They're getting all this from the demigods, Satan, fallen angels. The Lord gave Satan who? Earth. The land been given to the hand of the wicked. Who is the wicked? Satan. Satan have many employers out there. Cloning is one. Reptiles is another. They live in you. And most of these creatures that live in human bodies are reptiles. But once they become of human, they can stay in that human body for a very long time. But if that human body were to get crashed or killed, which they wouldn't because they got powers, don't get it twisted. Okay? But if they did, they have about 5 more lined up. The first cloning may take, when they first clone a human being, it takes 3 to 6 months. Maybe sometimes a year, depending on the technology. But usually, with the technology they got, between 6 to 7 months to clone a human being. They need their tissues, their brain cells and all that. They'll clone a human. Okay? After that first human is cloned, they can clone you every hour thereafter. So if they want to make 20 of you, they could. If they want to make 10 of you, they could. When you saw Saddam Hussein, that was not the real Saddam Hussein. He did not die like that. Okay? They didn't have no need for Saddam. They got rid of Saddam in the early 90s, but they was using his clones to have fun with you, to be amused. That was not the real Saddam, but he acted just like him. I got some more news for you. Michael Jackson is not dead. Michael clone is dead, but Michael Jackson is not dead. Michael Jackson doesn't look anything the way he did. The slim Michael Jackson, because they know that's what y'all like. The Michael Jackson that y'all saw dancing with James Brown, that was a clone. They had to keep fixing on it because the clone was breaking down. He wasn't going into surgeries. See, clones also can't gain weight. So basically what they did, they had to keep doctoring on the clone of Michael who was alive. The one that was dancing with Michael, or the dance with James Brown. Okay, that Michael Jackson, that wasn't the real Michael. Matter of fact, when they cloned it, Michael, that clone Clones don't grow hair. So in other words, however they clone you, whatever you have, that's how you're going to come out. That's just how the clone produce. So in other words, if you're a person that have long hair, however they clone you, that's how the clone going to look. When they cloned Michael Jackson, his hair was never attached because the first Michael Jackson that was cloned, his head was 3rd to 4th degree burn in Pepsi commercial. He lost half his head. I mean, it wasn't gone, but it was very badly burnt. Michael Jackson looked like a monster. Okay, and he was still slim. So they cloned him while he was under the knife. And when they cloned him, they needed 2 years to remake him because he didn't look nothing like Michael Jackson. I don't know if y'all can peep game. So when they cloned him, they had to make him lighter and make up this skin disease because his skin didn't look the same. His body, they changed everything about him. In the end, when Michael was looking really, really bad, the clone body was breaking down because clones don't think like humans. Clones have to have people around them to tell them what they do because they get adolescence. They can't think properly. It's called handlers, right? So when Michael started to break down, his body was breaking down. His nose was artificial. I don't know if y'all noticed. Go back and Google Michael Jackson nose. It looks like a robot because it wasn't him. All right. His whole head was a wig. It was a cap because when they first cloned Michael, he didn't have any hair. It all burnt off in the Pepsi commercial. They put Michael in a capsule and cloned him. Brought him back 2 years as the clone. And Michael Jackson was watching all of this like, I can't believe they're doing this. So what happened to Michael? He just lived his life. Michael Jackson is still alive. He's already appeared on TV, but y'all didn't even know who he was. Go back and watch the CNN of Larry King, the guy with the glasses with the real bad burnt victim that played like Michael Jackson saved him when he was a kid. That's Michael Jackson. It burned him so bad it disfigured him. It tore up his skin. It did everything to him. You understand what I'm telling you? And also, after Michael was cloned, the real Michael Jackson, they bleached his skin so he would look nothing like Michael. If you look at the dude who was on Larry King telling you about his childhood, how Michael Jackson helped him, he looks just like Michael. Just look in his eyes. That's Michael Jackson. He's disfigured. That's how he looked when he got done with the Pepsi commercial. And they knew the world wasn't ready to see that Michael Jackson, so they had to keep him alive. Remember what I said prior. They've been cloning since 1945. So Michael comes back 2 years later. He looks nothing like the real Michael Jackson, but people buy into it. He can still dance because the clones is good mimicker. They're good at mimicking, man. That's what they do. So he got all his moves, but he was a little bit stiffer. I don't know if y'all look at the old Michael and then look at the new Michael. He's a little bit stiffer. Okay. Now, when Michael first came back, didn't nobody really know how to take it. All right. Because I can't recall if Billie Jean came out before the Pepsi commercial. But Michael sold his soul way before then because he did the Wiz commercial when Billie Jean wasn't even thought of. When he did the Wiz play, when he said you can't get in, you can't get out the game. Michael sold his soul a long time ago because Joe Jackson sold his children out long ago, and Joe Jackson forced his kids to have sex with Berry Gordy and Quincy Jones and amongst the other executive producers. Them boys was molested long ago. That's about Michael. Is Tupac alive? Huh. Remember when I told you Tupac was dead? Yeah, Tupac did die. I was correct. I stand correct. And I quote that and I stand by that. But years later, I found out that wasn't the real Tupac. That was his clone. I mean, I know when you first hear this shit, how you feel. Cause I feel the same way. I like this bullshit. Right? That's the first thing you're going to say. These motherfuckers of the elite. This Illuminati. These, Lord knows, The Father going, if the Lord has to intervene soon, because they're fucking monsters. These people are fucking monsters. And what I'm saying is, here's the kicker. Satan is already, the Lord hasn't let Satan go all the way, but they already doing what they do. Man, goddamn, since 1945, they've been cloning? Really? And this shit is real, man. Anybody they feel that's talented, very talented, they ain't gonna let you die. Not if you work for them. They ain't gonna let you go. Tupac, yes, they wanted Tupac's brain. They wanted him to stay around so they can manipulate. Now, how they do when they clone, man, Tupac could be anywhere underground, living as the Illuminati has him under, patrol. Like, they have underground dungeons. And these underground dungeons is not as bad as you think. They have a playground. They have fake grass. All of that stuff. They have shopping mall. I'm telling you what I know. A lot of people who you don't see no more that was once famous are living there right now. They grow old. The point of the matter is when they sell their soul, they don't want to die. Tupac never wanted to die. He sold his soul long ago. Okay? And y'all want to know this? Did he mess with transgenders? Let's put it this way. The executive producers who pretty much put Tupac in movies had sex with him. So in essence, they gave him fellatio, and then Pac had to pop them. And I know y'all don't want to hear that because that's y'all man. That's Tupac. But he is no better than the rest of them. He messed with gay men the way the rest of them have done. That's not a one person in Hollywood have not followed the trends. You see Wu-Tang, right? You think they all hard. You don't think Method Man been in the bed with Jewish men because he have. Now, if to look at that brother, he hardcore, huh? That dude been in man, please, with transgenders as well. Kevin Gates, Kevin Gates, same thing. He's a switch hitter. He'll play hard when he come on 106. Or what I want to say, the Breakfast Club. He always, man, my wife, she want to play with my booty, and I was like, I ain't down with that. That's dead giveaway. Ain't nobody talking about booty. But see, a man that intertwined with other men, he brings up gay scenarios to make himself don't look gay, but realistically he is gay. But he figured if he put it out there, he protects his masculinity. But really, he is a switch hitter. Kevin Gates is bisexual. All right? And he worships Satan on a regular. He's just like the rest of them, and he drink blood. He's been cloned too. He has to go to the clone lab to get chipped. All of them been chipped. And y'all probably say, well, what's the point of chipping them? So they stay under mind control. They know what they saying. They know what they thinking. They program them. That's why when you see Al Roker, the news reporter, when Al was, y'all saw him, when he's doing that commercial, he was speaking live, and he just looked like he went into total shock. They cut his chip off. And they did that deliberately just to see, does it work? And they laughed at everything is a joke to these guys. They monsters, man. When they cut that man's chip off, it was a laughing time. Like, look at him. You see this? Then they flipped it back on. It works. I told you about Pac, why they want him, because he's such a conscious rapper. He really has a gift for poetry. They want him alive. So they kill Tupac's clone, but they left the real Tupac alive. And Pac don't want to die either. See, when these people sell their soul, they don't want to die because they know what's coming. So they want to prolong their life, and they do it by cloning. But that's not them. You see, the real you can only stay alive for so long, but they take every kind of drug. They sleep in capsules. Man, they do everything to try to prolong their life. All right, they're not the Rockefellers. Have what, 9, 10 plastic surgeries? He got a bad heart. So what do you think he doing? He wouldn't kill somebody to get that heart, because a heart transplant take a long time to get. They wouldn't kill somebody with the same scenario of DNA to give him that heart because they don't want to die. You understand? So when you see, for instance, like, look, we can go back to the late 40s and 50s. How many times have y'all saw a picture of Jay-Z that looked like Jay-Z, and now it resonated as the new Jay-Z because that was Jay-Z? Did y'all see that old picture back in the 50s? Oh, they say 1800s? And they say it looks less like Jay-Z. That's because they were freezing DNA eggs back then, man. They was freezing them. That's not a coincidence. Did y'all see the one of Nicolas Cage? Looked just like him. That is him. It's called cloning. Listen, what else? All right, the movie called Hostel. Now, I know a lot of y'all look at these Quentin films and say, well, that's just a movie, Yash. No. The movie called Hostel, it exists. This is what those rich people do. They get around each other and they watch each other. They watch people torture each other and they get off on it. I mean, they literally sit there with Dom Perignon, Cristal, whatever they want to drink, but most of them like blood. And they're sitting there in a damn high chair, or they sitting in the bleed. They sitting in comfort. It's just like a little mini stadium, man. If you really want to get a glimpse of what I'm talking about, when I told you about Eyes Wide Shut, now shit coming to pass, y'all believing it now because there's too many people talking about it, blowing the whistle, right? Well, I'm telling you something about cloning. When they want to experiment on somebody, they'll make 5 clones of that one person, but take the real clone and reserve it. And then they take that copy of you and put it in an arena, and everybody want to see you bleed. They want to see you stab yourself. And then, this is the sickening part, they'll let you bleed out and then go drink your blood. And then cut pieces of you and eat it. There are some people out there that's in the Illuminati world that's very rich billionaires. They can't eat regular food because they so hooked on human flesh. They do all this shit at the clone lab. Everything, if you want to be in Hollywood, you want to be rich, famous, you got to go to the clone lab. Ciara has been cloned. They know she is very talented dancing while she ain't no type of singer, but she can dance. She's been cloned. That's not the real Ciara. She's under hypnosis. She's been chipped. They done made 3-4 different Ciaras. They did the same thing with Janet Jackson. She's been chipped and cloned too. They keep them around because they keep making revenue from them, making money. When you have sex with Janet Jackson, you're meeting her representative. That's why y'all better stop being attracted to the big old booties and big breasts. I'm just telling you, if you better come with a spiritual perspective, because these women, they're not who they say they are. They're representative of cloning labs, and they're looking for righteous brothers to bring back to the lab to experiment on. And then they wipe your brain clean. The point I'm making is that once they put that chip on you, they get you to do anything. Okay. MLK equals clone. Every rich person has a clone. Now, I know a lot of y'all saying, well, what if you was in a franchise and you made money? Would they come after you? You cannot be rich in this world without being a part of the Illuminati or being cloned. You cannot have $5 million in your bank and not be a part of the brotherhood. I don't care if you own a chicken joint, a laundromat, if you got a car lot, you are not going to have that type of money, and you're not going to be a part of their program. This is how they get you, man. I said it prior. They always want to invite you somewhere, and most of the time they'll pay for it. And you're going to go for it because man, I must be all right. They're paying for everything, room and board. It's in the food. They're going to serve you. They're going to put it in your drink. And if you person say, I don't want nothing to eat that night, and you just say, he ain't eating, he ain't drinking nothing either. They got plan B. They're going to have a beautiful girl bump up against you. She has a little needle that's going to feel like a mosquito bite, but that's just like a pin, like a needle head she's going to hit you with. That's going to knock your ass out within 60 seconds. You see all that James Bond shit? That shit exists, man. And while you sleeping, they put a chip in your neck, your head, or whatever they decide to put it, and you become MLK. And if you're real valuable and smart, they're going to clone you and take the real you and put you away and let your clone act like you. Okay? It's not an entertainment, music industry, sports thing. It's everywhere. If you're a person that came out with a software that generates millions of dollars, they're coming after you. Remember that dude that made Flappy Bird or whatever that thing was called? He was getting 56 million downloads a day. They came after him. He said he ain't going to do it no more. He pulled it. Remember, y'all? He pulled it because he was getting too much attention. The money was coming in like crazy. They drafted him in and said, "You're going to work for us." They made him come back, and they put him on the hip. He was fighting, but they met him. He went out to meet or whatever. He said he didn't want no part of him. They shot him up with some shit. He came back under hypnosis, and now they pipping his brain to make other software. He works for them now. He's in the clone lab, and they ain't let him go home. A lot of times when you hear about people that's dead, they're not dead. Gaddafi never died. Gaddafi clone died, but he never died. Okay. What makes them want to clone you? A person that's all over YouTube. You know, you're becoming famous, people listening to you. And if you notice, these dudes are proud, man, poofed up. They love the spotlight. They like being on everybody's channel. They put on their little decoration, they 6-point star. First of all, when you see a 6-point star on any man that's preaching, that's supposed to supposedly be the righteous, he's already under hypnosis, because 6-point star is the indication of Judaism, which is Judaism. There's nothing righteous about a 6-point star. So when you see any man that calls himself Hebrew Israelite with 6-point stars, he's working for the Illuminati. He's an undercover clone agent, and he's trying to start a damn war amongst Hebrew Israelites and Kemet, because on the Kemet side, they're doing the same thing too. And these people, they don't really give a shit because they're getting paid. But a lot of them are unaware what they're doing because they've been chipped. I know y'all don't want to believe, man, they ain't chipping camps. No, they just want, that's a particular person they want out of that camp. That's who they want to chip, because he's going to lead the masses that believe in him. Another guy who's been chipped is Professor Griff. This is why he can get on, talk a lot of shit and tell so much truth and tell so many lies. Come on, man. When Alex Jones gave his book, not Haration, when Alex Jones pumped his book up, I knew that they had already got to him. He's on the MLK. Okay. Alex Jones also been chipped. You understand? So if they get to where they don't want to be a part of that no more, they'll cut their chip off and they'll just start having eternal pains. Speaking of pain, Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac was killed, man. Let me just explain this. Bernie Mac sold his soul. They don't even let you see things like this until you sell your soul. So when Bernie Mac got that show, he had sold his soul. The Bernie Mac show. Then he started getting movies. But way before then, he was just doing comedian. They didn't show Bernie nothing. When Bernie started getting his feet wet, they started taking him to Pandora Box. His mind was blown. But then they put him under the oath where he won't talk. You know, throw the gold up here and there, put your hands in pyramid. That's the oath. So as Bernie started making more money, his name became a household name. They started taking Bernie to the clone lab, because there is a thing called clone lab, and they all over. They're not just in America; they're all over the world. All right, they control them anywhere. Rich folks, they're always in places you never think they are. It's like it could be a desert, like nothing exists, and it's this one fucking pond of water or some old trees. That's usually where it's at. It's underground. They got it, man. It's just like the movies. They telling you the truth in the movies. So nevertheless, Bernie Mac was introduced to the clone lab. They take you there. They took him there. They let him see the fights. At first, he thought it was cool, you know. It was like eyes wide shut. They screwing in front of you. They doing bizarre things, man. Bestiality. You going, damn, right? But the part that tripped him out, how they showed him. They literally showed him how they clone people. They take the real person and put them off to the left and make two more of you. It blew his mind. Just like they did the dogs, the fish, all of that. He was like, wait, I'm tripping. That ain't a real person. Then they start, they stab the person to make you see they bleed. They're real. And they can feel that pain. You understand? So his mind is blown. Now, he done been a couple of times, and the only time they would be willing to put you in shackles so you don't talk, if he's not bringing revenue. But Bernie Mac is funny as hell. Bernie Mac bringing a lot of money. So they say, let him make movies. He ain't going to say nothing. He know what's good for him. And who's going to believe him anyway? Right? So this was heavy on Bernie, very heavy on him, but they already had him chipped. Once they take you to the clone lab, you have to get chipped. Steve Harvey is chipped, Oprah's chipped, D.L. Hughley is chipped, said entertainers. That's why they don't say nothing. And this is what happened to Bernie. When Bernie started to have these conversations, they can hear everything he's saying, so they made him go into pain more. So they can put your body in pain. He started, I'm hurting. So Bernie had a talk with Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, and said the entertainer, because he believed he could talk to them. Like, man, we got to tell somebody about this shit, man. Cloning people? They advised him, hey, man, this shit been going on since the 40s. We're going to make our money. Steve Harvey, big lip ass, right? So Bernie was really adamant about it. It was heavy on his head. So Bernie did the King. They let him do that tour. He came back. He still was cool. But shortly thereafter, he did a movie with, I believe, with Samuel Jackson. I ain't for sure. And he was still good, but shortly after that movie got done, he kept bringing it up. So Steve goes and rat him out. Well, they knew what he was saying, but Steve was like, he's becoming a problem. So they hold a meeting without Bernie. And they asked D.L. Hughley the same thing. Hey, what is he saying? He's saying that we gotta expose this. Okay. They amped his chip up. Because the chip controlled every vital sign in your body. Bernie got real sick, went to the hospital. And they knew what was going on. Steve Harvey knew. D.L. Hughley knew. Said the entertainer knew that they ratted him out. And he knew that death was coming. They knew death was coming. Bernie wasn't assured at the present time. But when he started getting real sick, he said, these motherfuckers doing this to me. But Bernie did tell his wife what was going on. And she been scared shitless ever since. And they didn't want him to tell her too much, so they turned it all the way up and killed him while he was in the hospital. And they didn't have to be there. They did it by remote control. That's how cloning works, and that's how the chip works. It works by remote. So somebody could have been acting like a janitor or acting like they there to see their loved one, could have been sitting in a weight room and hit the remote to turn his chip up to send him to fatal, which is death. That's how Bernie Mac left here, being ratted out by Steve and D.L. All them niggas so fake, man. If I come to you because we just did the King's Economy, I feel like I can talk to you because Bernie wasn't kissing Steve ass. All them niggas kissed Steve ass. So Bernie have a man to man say, man, you think that shit right? Look, man, this is Steve. Look, man, whatever they doing, we ain't got nothing to do with that. Like my mama always say, mind your business. And all of them co-signing DL and said the entertainer, yeah, Steve right, man, Steve right. And here go DL Hughley. I understand what you're saying, Bernie, but at the same time, man, they've been doing this shit since the 40s. I mean, for us to put our nose in that, man, we got to check. We got to feed our family. All that type of shit. Beware of a nigga that always get that hot, alto voice. That's a nigga you don't want to trust. But Bernie, it was weighing on him because they kept inviting him back to the clone lab. He kept literally seeing people die before his eyes. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, rent the movie Hostel. It may be kind of hard to find, but you probably can see it for free on the internet. Just Google Hostel. And everything that you see in that movie is what they do in the clone lab. And he was watching this. He was like, man, this is crazy. Right? Whitney Houston, she also had to pass away because she got tired. She didn't want to do it no more. She was chipped. All they did is cut her chip off. And they put her face down in the water. Bobby Christina was chipped too. They killed her the same way. Now, to let us know that Bobby Christina's death was not an accident, but it was a ritual, they took Bobby Christina out the damn Hertz or whatever the damn car was, right? And they got ready to wheel her body into the morgue or whatever. It was a church. I don't know where exactly the place was, but to let us know that it was an actual ritual, they had 2 Egyptian unks out there. I don't know if y'all peep game. They did the same thing with Whitney Houston. Now, you telling me that this was an accident, and now they're saying it's her boyfriend that did it? No, he's a fall guy. And by the way, they already done shot him up with some MLK. He's totally submissive. Have y'all been hearing about these doctors The doctor that found the cure for cancer, the doctor that's found the cure for measles and all these other MMR. Yeah, they found a cure for MMR because it's man-made anyway. The doctors, they've been killing them. Why are they killing these doctors? Number one, the doctors don't want to be a part of this cloning. They didn't want to be a part of not telling the public that there's a cure for cancer. They found a cure, man, for cancer. One of the doctors got ready to reveal it. They killed him before he could do it. They found a cure for MMR. They give kids autism. Did y'all know this? And they've been killing these doctors one by one. And all of these doctors didn't want nothing to do with the cloning lab. They was totally against it. They all got ready to speak on it. And they pretty much killed them off because a lot of doctors that are high end been chipped. A lot of these doctors that's been getting killed, they have the chip in them. The MLK is nothing but cloning, and they got the chip in the back of their neck or their forehead, whatever. And when they get out of pocket and they don't do what they're supposed to do, they cut their chip off and they die of a heart attack, aneurysm, however you say that word, or some type of craziness that they can blame it on anything. A lot of y'all want to say, well, did Pimp C get cloned? No, Pimp C was killed. They didn't want to clone him. They don't want it. They didn't like him no way. So, no. Elvis Presley didn't die in that casket. Elvis Presley was under a drug of hypnotic that paralyzed his body for 4 to 6 hours. And he was removed and lived underground. Okay. Like Adolf Hitler, they cloned that. Adolf Hitler never died. He died in Brazil of old age. Steve Jobs didn't die when they said he died. They cloned him. Steve Jobs was last seen in 2014 in Brazil. Still kind of sick because they can't stop the sickness. But he was still alive. Yes, they cloned Steve Jobs. And they also cloned Warren Buffett. They cloned Microsoft man, Bill Gates. All them guys been cloned. So a lot of times, that's not necessarily the real Bill Gates. The real Bill Gates, they working his brain to death in a lab. He ain't came up yet. He's underground. See, when they put you under these deep hypnosis, you don't even be submissive. You just do what they tell you. Oprah Winfrey is on the MLK, and that's not the real Oprah. That's not the real Alicia Keys. That's not the real Lenny Kravitz. Okay? Now, Chris Brown hasn't been cloned, but since he's been talking so much, they're going to clone him. And I believe they cloned him when he's in the Philippines. But we'll see. Because Chris Brown is so outspoken, he may just tell it like it is if he can get in his right mind. But when Chris Brown was in the Philippines, they might have cloned him. Now, who is Chris Brown's handler to get him cloned and chipped? Rihanna. Now notice that Chris right now when they start putting people around you every other day, that's not Chris Brown. That's a reptile in Chris Brown that's controlling him. In other words, that's a demigod. That's a demon of alien descent, but it's really reptilia, which is like a lizard, but they have to live in human format. And we'll know. How do you know that Chris is a clone? Because he's going to have somebody with him 24/7. He can't be alone. Whenever a celebrity has to have somebody living with them and with them, that's because the clone can't work by itself. It has to have somebody with them. And what struck me really weird when Rihanna said that she wants to be at Chris Brown's hearing when he gets ready to do his child support. I thought that was kind of weird. Rihanna is Chris Brown's handler. And she's been told that this is not real Chris Brown. This is going to be his who? Cloning. I'm going to leave y'all with this. I just don't know. Father, in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Father. Those of righteousness, let them stay righteousness. Those are who you're chosen that is written in seventh and never been revealed. Father, let them stay strong. I ask that I stay strong, that I stay diligent, that I live in this awful flesh body, but always stay in the spirit. I ask that the children of Israel, who are Israelite descent of Negroes, may they have food to drink and, that's it, right? Your food, water to drink and food to eat. But not all, Father. The ones that's standing up for you, they're sacrificing for you and giving your word to the best of their ability. Not the clowns that's dressing up in 6-point stars. I ask that you condemn them. They're not who they say they are, Father. They also have a chip. Okay? I ask in humbleness that the righteous come forward and that the chosen stay whom they are, because they already chosen by your 7th seal, and it's pretty much sealed and never been revealed on 4 corners of the earth. I ask these things in humbleness, Father, that all languages of people who love you will come together, because more than anything right now, Heavenly Father, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai's Son, and your helpers that sit to your right, Father, the heavenly archangels, we need you. We need you. These people may not see what I see, Father, but it is so heavy. It is so heavy to where it is time. It is time to smack them upside their head with death, anxiety, bloodline disasters, famine, whatever it takes, Father. It is time to separate the chosen and the righteous and let them be strong together. Everything else, wash to the side. I will give you all this before I leave. Celebrities are trying to make friends with you. That's why they come in on Facebook. They come in on Twitter. And they're trying to be friends with you guys and have you guys meet them certain places so they can have a get together because you've been so loyal. The celebrities also know about the sex torture, much like the movie Hostel. They watch the sex tortures. Okay. Notice everybody that becomes an entourage of a celebrity wind up being killed or never heard of again, kidnapped or whatever you want to call it. Okay. They need friends. And I've been saying this and I'll say this again. The hit is females. They're looking for a lot of females because these old, decrusted, nasty men wants to have sex with these women and then cut them up and eat them at a damn barbecue. And I know that sounds pathetic, but there's some men that can't eat food. They want flesh. Take it any way you want it. I hope this show enlightens some of you, but some of you still going to be stupid as fuck. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Father, the viperness is necessary, Father. And if I'm wrong, forgive me. But if the viper stands, the hell with them all that don't understand your comings. Barakatah.